We're now broadcasting live, so welcome everyone. This is the Book Talk Nation chat with Jay Crownover and Molly McAdams. As you'll see, this works a little bit like an author event in a bookstore. So if you haven't already ordered your copies of Jay and Molly's books, Better When He's Bad and Sharing You, you can do that right here on this page next to this video window or at booktalknation.com. All of the copies purchased here at booktalknation.com will be signed and personalized by Molly or Jay. And then local independent bookstores, Katie Budget Books and Old Firehouse Books, will deliver those right to your door. Now, if you want a signed and personalized copy, you're going to want to make sure that you get that order in by tomorrow night at midnight. That's when sales will close for the signed and personalized copies. In about 20 minutes, Molly and Jay are going to answer your questions. And those are the questions that you submitted ahead of time when you RSVP'd for the event. Or you can submit questions now, live, right underneath this video window in the little chat box. And they will answer those in just a few minutes. Until then, we're going to turn it over to Monica Murphy, who is our interviewer tonight. She's the New York Times and USA Today bestselling author of the One Week Girlfriend series. She writes new adult and contemporary romance for Bantam and Avon. She also writes as USA Today bestselling author Karen Erickson. So, welcome Monica, welcome Jay and Molly. We'll turn it over to you.
Hello. Great to be here today with Jay and Molly. And I want to talk to you guys today about your new books. So I'm going to start with Jay, since she had her book out last week, Better When He's Bad. So, and I know Molly has her book out next week, is Sharing You. So I wanted to ask, you guys have started each a new series, so tell me, what is your favorite thing about starting a new series? What's hard about it? Tell us a little bit about your series. So go, Jay.
Trying something new is always scary. Like, I went from something that was, you know, a guaranteed fan base and a guaranteed, you know, like audience to something that nobody knew anything about, and it just wasn't new for me. It was pretty new for NA. Like, it totally took, you know, contemporary romantic suspense and like put it in the new adult genre. So, you know, it was interesting, scary to see if it was going to find a home, but it did, and it did well, and we hit the list with it, which is exciting, you know, for me personally. Thanks.
Yes,
you know, for
congrats.
an adult, like, it was just, it's exciting, you know, and, you know, I'm never one to travel the path most followed. I'm always the one that wants to make my own, so, you know, I always want to try and do something new.
Definitely. And then, Molly, your book's coming out next week, Sharing You, and it is about a love triangle, which you love to do.
Oh.
Naughty girl.
I do. I don't know why.
So tell us about it. It's out next Tuesday, right?
Yes. Showing you, it's not the typical love triangle. Like, there isn't like two people that one of the main characters is trying to decide between. It's very much different. Brody is actually married to a woman named Olivia, and she's absolutely horrible, like this manipulative, horrible person. And so it's really Brody and Cameron's struggle of trying to be together, and Brody trying to find a way to get away from his wife. And so, yeah, it's not your typical love triangle, but there's definitely a lot of drama there.
Definitely. Now, you both write about bad boys, or you both also touch on subjects that aren't always easy to handle. So what do you guys like about, you know, trying to redeem the bad boy, redeem the bad plot line, so forth? Tell us about that. Like, what's your favorite thing about that?
I don't redeem. I don't believe in it. I think that's too easy. Like, I think it's a way more interesting to take somebody that's not super likable or super law-abiding or super nice or kind, or, I mean, you know, even when with Rule, who's still, you know, the one I'm always trying to knock off the pedestal, like, he's not the nicest guy at the beginning of the book, but I don't necessarily make him nice. I think that's what's interesting about writing those kind of characters, is how do you keep them who they are, but still make them appealing not only to their love interest, but to your reading audience.
You do it really well.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Molly.
I think you both do. Anyway, sorry.
I don't tend to go for the bad boys so much. I have this thing like for the sweetheart guy, and so I always like end up writing about them, or like just like the weird kind of like, I don't know, the ones that like are always making fun of you. Like Cash, for example, he's like constantly making fun of Rachel. But I do a lot of the kind of like no topics. And the reason I do it is I love the idea of fairy tales. I was one of those girls who grew up like on Disney movies and just like love the idea of the fairy tale. But it's not real life, and I like writing about real life. I like writing about the drama that people don't want to know, or they try to like brush aside, because there's still beauty in it somewhere. So I don't know. That's why I normally go that route.
You are the best at handling taboo topics, no doubt.
Thank you.
I agree. I definitely agree. So what is it about forbidden love, Molly, that fascinates you so much?
Honestly, before Sharing You, it didn't really fascinate me so much. But I actually wrote Sharing You after a couple friends of ours, and like that had gone through this situation. Like this book is for them, and I'll admit, like when I first met them, I was like, you what? But then, like, you get to meet them and you get to hear their story, and it's absolutely like a heartbreaking story. It was one of those ones that like I absolutely fell in love with, and like I thought about it constantly. And so getting to see them at like the tail end of like all this drama, and then seeing them like a little over a year later get married, and it was like honestly the most like beautiful, not just like a like beautifully like visually wedding, but it was like so moving, absolutely like so moving. Like everybody was crying, and just like to see that happen for them was so great. So I still don't know what I think about the whole like forbidden love thing, but after them and after Sharing You, because you don't ever know like the whole story.
Very true. Now, Jay, with your new series, you've got a brand new setting and the point, and it's very gritty, very dark, and I remember you telling me, and I felt that way when I read Better When He's Bad, is like it's its own character. So how did you go about crafting an entirely new location? How was that, process?
I wanted it to be a place that, like, when you started reading the book, like, you could feel like you were getting sucked in, and like you were stuck there. Like there was no light, and there was no escape, and there was no room for heroes, and it was just like this place, like you felt like everywhere you turned, it was just another alleyway or another abandoned building. So like, the theme of the book is so dark, and the main character, the guy in it, is just so like rough. Like the setting had to fit that, like he couldn't be in an office building. He couldn't be, like even like in the streets of Denver, it's not like dark enough. A lot of people have read it and said it's my version of Gotham. And I guess kind of it is. Like, I mean, it really kind of feels that way, but, I don't have a hero.
No, you don't. Well, you do, but you don't.
Yeah, well, an anti-hero. A couple of them.
Yes. Now, what's the next book in the new series? I know Rowdy's coming up, but in the new series, what's the next book for you, Jay?
It'll be Better When He's Bold, which is Race's story. And that all centers around now the king of the city has been dethroned. So this kid that is from like a well-to-do family and from, kind of a life of luxury has now taken up the mantle, and how he has to handle being like a crime boss and like, this rich kid. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Are you working on that currently then?
No, I'm done. I'm fast. I'm working on Asa. I'm almost done with Asa's book.
Oh, okay. And when is Better When He's Bold out?
February 3rd.
Okay. And then Molly, I know that your first book for the new series is out next week. How many books are planned for the series? Do you know when the next one's out? All those fun details.
I'm not so sure. I kind of went backwards. Like Sharing You was almost completed, and then I decided to write a prequel for it, and the prequel actually came out a couple months ago. And so I have that done, and then this is coming out, and I can see there's this guy Aiden. I think he definitely deserves a story, but I'm not sure. Like there's definitely a few people. I think it's like one of those things like where I always plan after the first book. I'm like, oh, all these people should have a story, and then like as it goes on, like with each new story, you're like, oh, but this person needs a story too that was in this book. So I'm not really sure. At the moment, I have one more book in mind for this one, but you never know. After the next book, there might be another 2 or so.
Gotcha. So let's talk about new adult for a little bit. So where do you think the new adult genre is going, you know, from now moving forward?
I hope it goes everywhere. I hope it goes wherever it wants to go. Like there's enough of us in it, and there's enough like room for expansion, and there's been enough repetitiveness of like what started it, that now people are going to have to start thinking outside the box. Like they're going to have to. We can't all keep writing the same boy meets girl, you know, angst fest, like trouble this, trouble, like we just can't. Like we can't. So everybody's going to have to start expanding that into different ways, or, you know, it's going to suffocate. So I hope it goes everywhere. I hope it goes sci-fi. I hope it goes paranormal. I hope it goes erotic. I just hope it goes everywhere.
And I think it definitely has the capability of doing that. And I've seen a lot of NA authors who are like talking about getting into paranormal. So I'm totally rooting for that. I can't write paranormal to save my life, but yeah. So I agree with Jay, and I really hope it goes there.
Yeah, I agree. I participated in a NA chat last night on Twitter, and we were asking readers where they wanted it to go. And a lot of them said speculative fiction, science fiction, paranormal. So I really think that that's probably going to be I hope it is the next thing, because I agree with Jay. It's been done again and again, you know, boy meets girl, angst, guys broken, whatever. And I still love those. There's so many of them out there that it can start to feel a little stale. So I agree. I definitely think it has the longevity to go further, go wider. At least I hope it does. I don't want to see it get stuck.
Well, that's like part of what I wanted to write. The point, like, I love the Marked Men series, and I loved like rock and roll and tattooed guys and stuff. But you know, after 6 books of it, there has to be something else. Like there has to be. So, you know, I wanted to do something darker and more like plot driven rather than entirely focused on the characters, and, you know, something that, you know, really hasn't been huge in NA, which is romantic suspense, you know. But I think there's a shift going towards that. Like I know Kay Tucker's writing like a romantic suspense novel. So, you know, the door's creaking open slowly.
I heard when we were at the RT convention last month, I heard a lot of talk about romantic suspense, dark romantic suspense. Editors were looking for it, writers were starting to dabble in it, and I've seen it kind of do a lot better on self-publishing too, so I have to agree with you. I think it's something that is out there, and I like it. And I like it in the new adult segment of books. So, what about you, Molly? Was there anything that specific other things that you want to see, or you already pretty much said?
Yeah, just really like anything. I love paranormal. When I started reading, I was reading YA paranormal, and so for people to go NA, like that would be so fun for me to be able to read. But I really like anything. Like, bring it. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I like that answer the best. I just sold the spin-off series of the Marked Men has a boy-boy book. So, you know, there hasn't been, like, Nightray Dawn just did an awesome, with Rush, boy-boy book. So, you know, even adding in, you know, diversity in NA is, like, something that could be a thing, you know. So, I mean, I had my character from the very first book that was a sexual orientation. So, like, I didn't craft it to be that way. But since I'm doing the spin-off, why not? He should get a happy ever after. Right?
Oh, I totally agree. That's great. When is that coming out?
It's a whole spin-off of the Marked Men called The Saints of Denver. So I don't know. We haven't quite figured out if we're doing the rest of the point yet or that next. So we're waiting to see.
How about you, Molly? What are you working on currently?
I'm actually kind of going back to the Taking Chances series. I'm writing Liam, the son of Chase and Harper. I'm writing his story now, like when he's all grown. And it actually kind of merges two series together. One of the twin daughters of Rachel and Cash, her name's Kennedy, she's actually going to be the love interest in there. So bringing two series together and working on that. Just got finished writing the first story of another series. I have trouble staying in series because I feel like kind of like what Jay was talking about earlier, like it's kind of like the same repetitive thing, and I feel like in my series, like that's just kind of my mindset. So like to get out of that, I have to get to a new series, and that one's called Letting Go. It's the first in the Thatch series, and that'll be out November 4th. And oh, I love it. It was just absolutely heartbreaking the entire time. So that I'm very excited for. But yeah, as of right now, just writing Trusting Liam, which I don't think we have like a set date on that. Sometime early 2015. And
Awesome.
yeah, that's about it.
Now, you said it was heartbreaking, so was it breaking your heart as you wrote it?
Yeah, I like sobbed pretty much throughout the entire thing, and like I can't even blame that on pregnancy hormones. Like it was absolutely devastating. Like I don't even know how many times I emailed my editor, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. And
oh no, I love those types.
And it wasn't over. Yes.
Then you twist the knife a little deeper. Exactly.
Molly just wants everybody to ugly cry. She just wants everybody curled up in the fetal position in the corner like, Molly!
I know, right?
But at least it kills me too. I don't just do it and I'm like, ha! You're crying. Like, I'm just sobbing right there with you.
So you're not sitting over your computer and rubbing your hands together and going, ha ha ha, what's this?
Yeah, no, a lot of people, they keep sending me that picture. They're like, do authors have tea with Satan and laugh over it? And I'm like, no, Satan and me aren't friends. I cry.
Oh, you make us curl up in the fetal position, and then Jay, you make us love the really naughty boys.
Yeah.
So it's like, bring it on, right? Well, what I love is that you guys, you don't slow down. It's like there's always something new to read by Jay or by Molly. So I think that that's awesome because the readers are voracious and they want to read more. So I know I'm thankful for it because I'm a reader just like everybody else. Are either of you reading anything right now?
I just finished Stay With Me because Jenna Armentrout loves me, and she sent me The Return, so that's my plane ride to Europe read. I know. I had to hold Rowdy hostage. I wouldn't send it until she sent me Seth.
Oh, Seth.
I just read, what else did I just finish? Oh, Breathe With Me, Kristen Proby's new one, and A.L. Jackson's Come to Me Quietly just came out, so I have all those.
I am in the middle of Unbeloved by Madeline Sheehan. I love her. So hers just came out on Tuesday as well, so very excited about that one.
Awesome. I'm going to start, when I do my plane ride over to the UK, I'm going to be reading Anna Geary's Want It That Way. That's her new adult book that she has coming out, and she sent it to me.
It's so good. It's super
good. Is it?
Good.
Okay.
It's so good.
I've had it for a while. I just haven't had the time. I was on deadline. I couldn't read, so I thought, I'm going to save up all these things for the plane ride. So I'm going to be reading that. I'm really excited to read it.
It's got a red-headed hero. I think there needs to be more.
Yes.
Me too. I agree.
Yeah. And it's elegant. Like, her writing is very, it's still a new adult storyline, but, like, the way she told it's very, like, refined. Like, way more refined than I write.
Anne's a great writer.
Yeah,
I've been a
fan
fan for years. So I'm excited to read her new adult.
I don't know. I'm trying to read what you're writing to me. Like, what?
Well, I think we're almost at the 20-minute mark. I'm not quite sure. I think we filled up the time pretty good.
We are about at that mark. I think I may be having some connectivity issues on this side. I think the Hangout is being a little glitchy, so I don't know if you guys can see and hear me okay right now. Am I on a delay for you?
We can see you. You kind of look like, you know, there's talk like the old movies.
Yes, a bit of a delay, not too bad.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and try. Let me know if it gets a little glitchy. Then I'll just I'll type the questions in for you, Monica, in our little chat, our internal chat, so that you can read them. But we'll go ahead and continue as planned for right now. So now is the time where Molly and Jay are going to answer your questions. So we'll pull some of the questions that were submitted ahead of time, and then you can also right now just go ahead and type in questions in the chat box underneath the video window. So that's another way to do it. So I'll go ahead and start pulling some of these questions for you. This one is for both of you. What is your favorite beverage to drink while writing? That's from Selena.
Where's my camera? See? Do you see? The gift from the gods. I couldn't live without it.
I was a huge Diet Dr. Pepper addict. Like, I could not get enough of it. But I stopped drinking that like last year, and so it's pretty much water. I don't know. I drink a lot of water. I'm boring.
It's so tame, but I guess if you were drinking cocktails while you were writing, it would be a completely different book. That would be. Let's see here. For Jay, was it a little harder to write Bax's story compared to the rest of your boys? And that's from Lisa Amari.
No. I mean, I don't know. Bax was so much larger than life and so big and huge in my head. Like, I don't even feel like I wrote his story. I feel like he told it himself. And I mean, I wrote the book in like 10 days. Like, it was done in 10 days. So, you know, like, I don't know. And it's not the same as like delving into all his like emotional reasons for being the way he is. Like, his, you know, he is really a character that is, this is, take me or leave me. This is what I am. So, you know, the marked men aren't like that. They're super layered, and you have to, like, dig deep and figure out what all their motivations are. So, yeah, no, Bax was like being on a speeding freight train. I just tried to keep up.
So this one is for both of you. Again, this is from Charlotte. She says, I have a question for Jay and Molly both. Would you ever date one of your new adult heroes? If so, which one? Or should they say book boyfriends only?
That's a great question.
That's actually pretty easy for me. I make most of my heroes off of my husband, so yeah, I would totally date them.
Aw, that's the sweetest.
That's cute.
I think the only guy I've written that I would date is probably Nash. Like, all the rest of them are, like, way too, I don't know, too much. Like, Nash is the only one that's, like, mellow enough and has his head enough on his shoulders that I think I could hang out with without trying to hit with a brick.
I would date Rome.
Yeah, Rome, I don't know. You know, I don't like the clean-cut guy. Like, I mean, his personality's great, but, like, I don't know. Oh, I've never dated a guy that didn't have tattoos. Like, I've never dated a military guy, so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, his personality I could get behind, but I need a little color.
To match your color.
Yeah, right?
Jay likes tattoos? No.
I know I make up a lot of questionnaire.
Let's see. This one is for Jay. Before writing your novels, do you create or have a series Bible or an outline? If so, can you tell us a little bit about your creative process? That's from SD Rogers.
No, I wish I did. At this point now, like going into the next set of books, I wish I had like a binder full of what everybody drives and what everybody's eye color is and who everybody's parents and brothers and sisters' names are. Now I'm working with such a huge world that I wish I had been more diligent. No, I generally just get on my fan page and ask them. I'm like, does so-and-so have this color eyes? What does so-and-so do for a job? Like, yeah, it's so much. Like, eventually, probably I'm going to have to, like, like build one, like to make sure continuity stays in track. But my writing process is I sit my rear end in a chair and I write. I write every single day. I get up, I get a Pepsi, I sit at my computer, and between 8 and 10 hours a day, I write. Like, my deadlines are 3 to 5 months apart. Like, I don't mess around. It's my job. Like, and my creative process is, I think so far out ahead. I have so many interconnected stories. Like, really, I feel like I'm just filling in the blanks between the end of one book and the beginning of the next. Like, all I'm doing is filling in the middle. So, I mean, I know that doesn't sound very, like, helpful, but it's really what I do.
And the next question is for Molly. Who has been your favorite character to write? And that's from Kara, which may be a hard question. People say it's like choosing children, but
That is so hard. Before this last book, I would have said Cohen Steele. He's in Capturing Peace. It's actually the prequel to Sharing You. I wrote him after a friend, Tyler, and he's just very like beautifully haunted person, which is why I wanted to write about him in the first place. And he's so rude, and like him being rude is like what's so endearing about him. But after letting go, Jagger is. I just love Jagger, so probably Jagger. You'll like him, hopefully.
I'm sure.
This one is for both of you from Mara. Molly and Jay, what is your biggest pet peeve about New Adult, and what is your absolute favorite thing about New Adult?
You want to go first?
Sure. I'll start with my favorite thing. My favorite thing is just like the possibilities with New Adult, since it's like so just like new to the spectrum. It's that like we really have like so many places that we can still go, which we're talking about earlier. I think my biggest pet peeve is that kind of also what you were talking about earlier is everyone thinks all the books are the exact same, because for the most part, like a lot of them kind of like go the same thing. So they're like, oh, I don't want to read that because I've read one, I've read them all. And so I think all just kind of mixed together. Like I'm ready for the new stuff because everyone's just expecting the exact same story over and over again, and that kind of gets old after a while.
Yeah, I like that New Adult has the room to grow, and I like that it's sort of started kind of like DIY, like punk rock grassroots, like independent writers and readers that wanted it because nobody wanted to traditionally publish college-aged heroes and heroines, and like it wasn't a thing. So like my personal like, yeah, we want it, we're gonna do it. Like I love that. That's like the greatest thing ever, Like if you ask enough, somebody eventually is gonna give you what you want, and I think that's awesome. I think that's why New Adult lets us like break rules and do different things and explore stuff that hasn't really been explored before. My biggest pet peeve is because the storylines have gotten to a point where they're repetitive, that readers expect certain things. So when you write a character that is not the norm, usually the girls, but I won't tangentialize about that, they don't get, accepted. Like you write a girl that's not like a spunky, feisty heroine, or a girl that's, tough as nails. She's anything that falls in between those on the spectrum like women do. They get vilified, and I hate it. I hate it. Hate it.
I agree.
This next question is for both of you as well, from Jerry Baxter. Do you ever start writing a book and decide it isn't going where you want, so you scrap it?
Every time.
Oh, I've never had to. Oh, me? No, I've never had to.
I don't actually scrap them. My editor usually stops me. But about halfway through every single one, I'm like, oh, it sucks. I'm done. And then so she reads it and she like convinces me not to scrap it. I think the only one that I have thus far is Trusting Liam, the one I'm working on now. I got about a little over 30K into it, and I was just like, this reminds me too much of Taking Chances. And since it's in that series, like I think I kept going in that direction. So I actually did put that one away, and like I started fresh. But no, every single time, I just think the story is absolutely horrible, so I want to trash it about halfway through.
Oh yeah, no way. I'm way too OCD. I'd be like, I'm gonna go back and edit after it's done. But I found like that's what you have to do. Like you finish it. Like just finish it. You can fix it later. Your editor can take a red pen to it. But like for me, the hardest part is getting to the end. So if I had to stop like halfway or a quarter of a way through and redo it, it'd never get done. It'd end up in a dead file on my computer.
Okay, we have time for a couple more. From Morning Books 123, Molly, will we see more Cohen and Reagan?
You'll see a little bit more of Cohen in Sharing You, and he talks about Reagan, but as for their story, it's pretty much done. Because, like, Sharing You takes place 5 years after Capturing Peace, so basically, like, anything I would wrap up, like, you get to hear from Cohen.
And one more for Jay. What's your most awkward meeting a bad boy moment?
You know, I'm really spazzy. I'm sure you can tell. So meeting anybody can be an awkward moment. It doesn't matter if he's a bad boy or not. Like, yeah. And you know, I was married for a really, really long time, and I've only been single now as a grown-up. So, like, yeah, I'm smart enough now to know to avoid them. So I really haven't. Like, you know. But if you see me out in public and I, like, call you the wrong name or spill something on you, you know, that's just my general weird awkwardness as it is.
So with that, it is about time for us to wrap up. Before we go, I do want to remind everyone who's joining us, who's watching this video tonight, that you can order signed copies of Better When He's Bad and Sharing You. So Molly and Jay will be signing and personalizing those copies ordered through booktalknation.com. You can do that right here on this video page or at the site. And then local independent booksellers, Kitty Budget Books and Old Firehouse Books, will fulfill all those orders and ship them right to your door. Now, if you want a signed and personalized copy, though, you have to make sure you get that order in by tomorrow night at midnight. That's when the sales will close for these books. So a big thank you to everyone who joined us for all of your great questions tonight. Thank you to Monica for interviewing, and a big thank you to Jay and Molly for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. I'll see you.
Everybody have a great night.
Monica. We'll miss you, Molly.
Yes.
Post pictures for
I
me.
you beer and you're a baby maker.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, ladies.